There are quotes that inspire you. There are quotes that motivate you. And then there are quotes that define the way legends live, think, and win. Muhammad Ali, a man who turned language into a weapon, a man who turned rhythm into strategy, a man who turned belief into power. He once said, "You can't hit what your eyes don't see." But this statement isn't just about boxing. It's about clarity, vision, awareness, identity, discipline, purpose. It is about seeing what others overlook. It is about noticing what others ignore. It is about thinking faster than fear and acting quicker than hesitation. This video is not just a breakdown of a quote. It is a journey through Ali's mind, a mind built on speed, awareness, anticipation, and unstoppable confidence. So today, we explore the psychology of vision, the art of seeing what others miss, the unseen strategies Ali used to conquer giants long before the first punch was thrown. This is the mindset behind the phrase, "You can't hit what your eyes don't see." The true meaning of the quote, voiceover deepens. When Muhammad Ali said, "You can't hit what your eyes don't see," he wasn't bragging. He was teaching. Ali understood that in every battle, physical or mental, the one who sees first wins first. In boxing, he mastered angles, he mastered distance, he mastered rhythm, he mastered unpredictability. But behind all of it was vision. Ali didn't wait to react. He read you, he decoded you, he predicted you. Because to him, the real fight wasn't in the ring, it was in the mind. Sight is physical, vision is psychological. Ali trained his vision like it was a weapon. He saw punches before they were thrown. He saw openings before they existed. And he saw greatness long before the world believed in him. That is the secret. That is the meaning. Seeing before the moment arrives. Ali's speed, not physical but mental, people called Ali the fastest heavyweight in history. But Ali knew the truth. Speed doesn't start in the body. Speed starts in the mind. When your mind is slow, your body becomes slower. When your mind is sharp, your body reacts instantly. Ali trained his brain like a world-class weapon. He told reporters, "I'm not the fastest boxer because of my muscles. I'm the fastest because I can see before the punches come." He wasn't guessing. He wasn't reacting blindly. He was watching movement patterns. Shoulders shifting, feet tightening, elbows lifting, eyes narrowing. A punch begins in the brain, then the nerves, then the muscles, then the fist. Ali saw the punch at the very first stage, before his opponent even fully committed. That is why they missed. That is why they grew frustrated. That is why they fell apart. You can't hit what your eyes don't see, because Ali's awareness lived in the future. The science of anticipation, modern neuroscience, reveals something incredible. The brain can predict motion 150 milliseconds before the body responds. Ali didn't know this scientifically. He knew it intuitively. He trained anticipation the way others trained footwork, drills, angles, shadow boxing, mirror work, reaction training, rhythm breaks, footwork illusions. Ali mastered the psychology of deception. He didn't just move. He made you think he was moving left, then struck from the right. He made you think he was slowing down, then exploded. He made you think he was vulnerable, then countered with perfect precision. Because Ali understood human behavior. He studied patterns. He studied emotions. He studied confidence and frustration. And once an opponent got emotional, Ali said, "I own them. I control them." Once a man is angry, he stops seeing. There it is. The moment you stop seeing, you start losing. The art of invisibility. Ali wasn't literally invisible. He made himself unseeable through tactics. 1. Constant movement. 2. Unpredictable rhythm. 3. Unreadable angles. 4. Head movement that didn't follow patterns. 5. Feints that reset the opponent's brain. 6. Lateral footwork rare for heavyweights. Ali turned invisibility into strategy. This wasn't luck. This wasn't magic. This was mastery. Ali's philosophy was simple. If they can't read you, they can't beat you. He didn't let opponents understand his rhythm. He didn't let them settle. He didn't give them a moment of comfort. Every second was confusion. Every movement was deception. Every pause was a trap. This is how champions dominate, not by fighting harder, but by fighting smarter. Vision beyond boxing. Now here is the truth most people miss. Ali wasn't just talking about punches. He was talking about life. You can't hit goals you cannot see. You can't become someone you have not envisioned. You can't reach destinations you haven't mapped. You can't solve problems you haven't identified. Life works the same way as boxing. Clarity determines accuracy. Accuracy determines success. The person who sees their future clearly will reach it. The person who lives blindly will drift. Ali saw himself as the greatest, long before the world called him that. He once said, "I believed I was the greatest before I even knew I was." Vision came first. Victory came later. The psychology of focus. Ali trained his focus the way others train their muscles. He removed distractions. He controlled his emotional state. He locked onto a target and saw nothing else. Because Ali understood, the eyes control the mind, and the mind controls the body. Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you ignore disappears. Ali focused on winning, strategy, identity, self-belief, mastery, awareness, legacy. And he ignored everything else: doubt, critics, fear, pressure, fatigue. Because you cannot hit success if your eyes are staring at fear. You cannot reach greatness if your vision is filled with worry. Ali kept his eyes on the goal, and the goal pulled him forward. Ali's training for vision. Ali created unconventional drills, catching grains of rice mid-air, reaction ball training, slipping punches with a rope, mirror shadow boxing, training in dark rooms, speed drills with unpredictable patterns. These weren't gimmicks. These were neurological weapons. Ali was sharpening his visual cortex, his timing, his brain-to-muscle response, and his perceptual awareness. This is why, in the ring, opponents thought he was reading their minds. He wasn't. He was reading their bodies. You can't hit what you don't see. In real life, apply this quote anywhere. 1. In your career, you can't succeed in a path that you haven't clearly defined. 2. In relationships, you can't fix problems you refuse to notice. 3. In personal growth, you can't improve weaknesses you don't acknowledge. 4. In goals, you can't achieve what you haven't visualized. 5. In discipline, you can't change habits you don't track. Vision is everything. Awareness is everything. Clarity is everything. Ali lived by this principle in every part of his life. How Ali's vision built his identity. Ali repeated affirmations like punches. I am the greatest. I am the champion. I am invincible. Why? Because these words shaped his internal vision, and his internal vision shaped his external results. Ali didn't just train the body, he trained the identity, and identity is destiny. The legacy of the quote. Ali's enemies feared his fists, but they feared his mind even more, because they realized you can't defeat a man whose mind sees every move before it happens. Ali's power wasn't in his punch, it was in his perception. That is why this quote will outlive every fight. You can't hit what your eyes don't see. It is a reminder that without vision, there is no strategy. Without awareness, there is no progress. Without clarity, there is no victory. Muhammad Ali wasn't just a boxer. He was a visionary, a strategist, a philosopher of movement and mindset. And through this single quote, He left behind a blueprint for greatness that you can apply today. So ask yourself, are your eyes seeing clearly? Are you aware of your weaknesses? Are you anticipating your future? Are you training your mind as much as your body? Because in boxing, in life, in purpose, in destiny, there comes a moment in every human life, a moment when the world goes quiet, when excuses disappear, when the noise fades, and all that's left is fear standing in front of you. Some people run from that moment. Some people freeze. Some people never recover. But champions? Champions walk toward that moment. Champions greet fear like an old friend. Champions understand a truth most people overlook. We can't be brave without fear. Muhammad Ali. What fear really is. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is not weakness. Fear is not a sign that you're incapable. Fear is evidence that you are alive. Fear means you are standing at the edge of something meaningful. Fear means you have something to lose and something even greater to gain. Ali understood this. Ali embraced this. Ali used this because he knew courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move forward in spite of it. The night before the fight, before the cameras, before the lights, before the roars of the crowd, there was a young man lying on a quiet bed in a quiet room with a storm in his chest. He felt fear. He felt pressure. He felt doubt. But here's what separated Muhammad Ali from the rest of the world. He did not interpret fear as a warning to retreat. He interpreted fear as a signal to advance. Where others saw danger, Ali saw destiny. Where others saw threat, Ali saw opportunity. Where others saw fear, Ali saw a chance to become brave. The science of fear and courage. Psychologists describe courage not as the absence of fear, but as the decision to act despite the presence of fear. Because fear activates your senses, fear sharpens your mind, fear ignites your adrenaline, fear prepares your body for greatness. Ali understood this intuitively. He used fear as fuel. He used fear as clarity. He used fear as a weapon. Ali Vasani Liston, Fear in Real Time. When Ali stood across from Sonny Liston, the monster of boxing, the destroyer, the unstoppable wall of muscle, he wasn't fearless. He was terrified. Liston was bigger, stronger, meaner, more experienced. But Ali stepped forward anyway. Because he knew the truth, fear is the birthplace of greatness, and on that historic night, fear did not slow him down. Fear amplified him. Fear awakened him. Fear elevated him into the man the world would soon call the greatest. Fear and human identity. Every human being faces fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of poverty, fear of heartbreak, fear of being embarrassed, fear of not being good enough. But only a few people rewrite their identity through it. Ali's way of dealing with fear shaped his entire personality. His confidence, his swagger, his determination, his discipline, his self-belief, and all of it, every ounce of it, was built on top of fear. How fear creates bravery. A psychological breakdown. Psychologists define courage in 3 steps. 1. The recognition of fear. Ali never pretended he wasn't afraid. He acknowledged the storm inside himself. 2. The acceptance of fear. He accepted that fear is part of progress. It is not a flaw. It is a feature. 3. The decision to act anyway. Courage appears in that tiny moment between hesitation and action. That is where heroes are born. That is where destinies change. That is where greatness is written. How Ali used fear to raise his spirit. Ali used fear to find his limits and then push past them. He trained harder because he was afraid of being unprepared. He spoke boldly because he was afraid of doubt. He stood tall because he was afraid of falling. Fear did not break him. Fear built him. And through that fear, he discovered bravery. Fear as the fuel of legends. Every champion in history, every hero, every leader, every master felt fear before rising. But the difference is simple. They walked through the fire instead of running away. Ali embraced the flames. He allowed them to forge him. He allowed fear to sculpt his courage. Because only those who face fear become worthy of being called brave. What this means for you, you have fears too, maybe not inside a boxing ring, but inside your life, your future, your dreams, your choices, your relationships, your career, your purpose. And the world has told you, be fearless. But Ali tells you something much deeper. Don't try to avoid fear. Try to build courage, because bravery is not the absence of something. Bravery is the mastery of it. Turning fear into bravery, your guide. Here is how you apply Ali's philosophy. 1. Admit what scares you. Honesty is the first step toward strength. 2. Accept uncertainty. Everything meaningful requires risk. 3. Take action even when afraid. Top performers act before they feel ready. 4. Train your mind. Fear weakens when discipline strengthens. 5. See fear as a challenge, not a threat. Your perspective determines your destiny. The moment of truth. Fear introduces you to the version of yourself you have not yet become. It reveals your path. It tests your will. It shapes your identity. Ali's words remind us, fear is not the enemy. Fear is the invitation. Bravery is the answer. Epic music rises. Fear is real. Fear is heavy. Fear is powerful. But so are you. And every time you stand up, every time you push through, every time you rise again despite the shaking hands or the rapid heartbeat or the storm in your chest, you prove something to the world. And even more importantly, you prove something to yourself. You can't be brave without fear. And bravery is what transforms ordinary people into legends. There comes a moment in every person's life when talent is no longer enough, when the world stops caring about how gifted you are, and all that remains is the fire inside you, the will that refuses to die. This is the moment Muhammad Ali spoke about when he said, "The will must be stronger than the skill." A sentence so simple, yet it carries the entire blueprint of greatness, because skill can be taught, skill can be trained, skill can be repeated, practiced, improved, but will, true will, comes from somewhere deeper. It comes from the part of you that refuses to break when everything around you is falling apart. It comes from the part of you that keeps standing when life keeps hitting. It comes from the part of you that whispers, "Not yet, not today, I'm not done." Muhammad Ali understood this better than anyone. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the most technically perfect boxer who ever lived. There were fighters with more polished techniques, faster combinations, or even better footwork at times. But Ali had something that couldn't be measured, something that couldn't be taught, something no opponent could ever fully prepare for. The will of a man who refused to lose. And that is what made him the greatest. When Ali trained, he didn't train to improve his skill. He trained to strengthen his will. He ran in the dark. He pushed through pain. He fought exhaustion until his body trembled and his lungs burned. Because he knew the truth. One day, skill will fail you. One day, talent won't be enough. One day, you will face something bigger, harder, stronger than you. And on that day, only one thing will carry you across the line: your will. The will to keep moving, the will to believe you can win, the will to get up after every fall, the will to fight even when fear is screaming in your ear. Ali once said he hated every minute of training, but he kept going, because quitting was not an option. He didn't become a champion because he enjoyed the struggle. He became a champion because he embraced it. Skill can make you good, but will makes you unforgettable. Will makes you unstoppable. Will turns ordinary people into legends. And today, You are about to step into Ali's world, not the world of punches and footwork, but the world of mindset, discipline, hunger, purpose, and unbreakable inner power. This is more than a motivational speech. This is a psychological awakening. This is the moment you stop depending on talent and start building will. The origin of will, cinematic story narration. Willpower is not born in the spotlight. It is shaped in silence, forged in struggle, hardened in moments no one ever sees. Before Muhammad Ali became the world's most iconic boxer, before he became the heavyweight champion, before anyone shouted his name, he was just a young kid from Louisville, Kentucky, skinny, determined, full of dreams, and hungry for something bigger than the world he lived in. People saw his talent. People saw his charm, people saw his boxing ability. But what no one saw, what no one could understand, was the furnace burning inside him. The truth is, will begins long before the world notices. Ali's will came from every insult he heard growing up, from every moment of disrespect, from every time someone told him he wasn't enough, from every door that closed in his face, from every time life demanded that he shrink. But Ali refused to shrink. He refused to bow. He refused to let the world define him. And this refusal became the seed of his will, a seed that grew stronger every time he faced pain, every time he was pushed down, every time he was told to stay quiet. Because will is not built by comfort. Will is built by resistance. Ali learned early that life was not fair. He learned early that greatness requires sacrifice. He learned early that pain is part of the journey. And instead of running from it, he ran toward it, not because he wanted to suffer, but because he understood something most people never realize. Pain is temporary. Regret lasts forever. Ali chose pain over regret. He chose discipline over ease. He chose struggle over comfort. He chose the hard path because he knew the easy one would never lead him to destiny. And that is the first truth of his philosophy. Your will is born in the dark, long before the world sees your light. Skills can be built in the gym, but will is built in the places nobody claps for you. It is built in lonely early mornings, in silent late-night training sessions, in moments you feel like quitting, in the small sacrifices no one notices. In the battles you fight inside your own mind, and Ali fought those battles every single day. When he woke up tired, he trained anyway. When his legs burned, he ran anyway. When his arms felt numb, he punched anyway. When doubt crept in, he silenced it. Because his will was not controlled by how he felt. It was controlled by how he decided to live. Ali didn't wait for motivation. He built discipline. He built identity. He built an inner law that could not be broken. And that law was simple. The will must always overshadow the skill. This is why Ali became a symbol, not just of boxing, but of courage, resilience, and defiant inner strength. Skill won't save you. Cinematic analysis narration. There is a dangerous belief in the modern world, the belief that talent is everything, that people succeed because they are born gifted, that greatness is a natural blessing. But Ali broke that illusion. He exposed the truth with every fight he won, and with every fight he survived. Skill can make you look good. Skill can give you confidence. Skill can even make you a contender. But skill cannot save you when you are exhausted, you are breaking, you are bleeding, you are afraid, you are overwhelmed, you are outmatched, you are injured, you are facing someone who wants it more. Because at that moment, your technique doesn't matter, your talent doesn't matter, your strength doesn't matter. Only one thing matters. Do you have the will to continue? Do you have the heart to keep going? Do you have the fire to refuse defeat? Ali fought men who were stronger, men who were bigger, men who were more technical, men who hit harder, men who wanted to destroy him, but none of them had his will. And will breaks giants, it breaks experts, it breaks the confident, it breaks the predicted outcome, it breaks the assumptions of the world. Ali understood the most powerful psychological truth in sports, war, and life. The stronger-willed fighter always wins the long fight. Skill fades, strength fades, speed fades, technique crumbles when exhaustion sets in. But real will, gets stronger when everything gets harder. This is why Ali outlasted champions. This is why he shocked experts. This is why he bent history. This is why his name echoes through time. Because greatness is not built on talent. Greatness is built on will. The fire inside. Where will is forged. If you could open the human mind and see where greatness begins, you would not find it in talent. You would not find it in physical gifts. You would not find it in perfect genetics or natural advantages. You would find it in a fire that refuses to go out. For Muhammad Ali, that fire was ignited the moment he understood that the world would never give him anything for free. He grew up in a time of tension, struggle, and limitation. The odds were against him from the very beginning. The world didn't give him permission to dream. The system didn't provide him a comfortable path. But Ali did not wait for permission. Ali made his own path. The fire of will is born when a person decides, "No one is coming to save me. I must save myself." This mindset changed everything. At 12 years old, when his bike was stolen and he insisted he wanted to whoop whoever took it, a police officer pointed him to a boxing gym. That moment was not destiny. It was decision. Ali walked into the gym because he had will long before he had skill. He punched with passion before he punched with perfection. He trained with purpose before he trained with technique. He believed he would be great long before he had the skill to prove it. This is the contradiction of greatness. Skill follows will, not the other way around. The world teaches people to wait until they are ready. Ali teaches you to begin before you are ready, because will does not come from comfort. Will comes from hunger. Hunger for meaning, hunger for victory, hunger for transformation, hunger for a life bigger than the one you were handed. Ali wasn't just hungry to win fights. He was hungry to rise above limitations. He was hungry to prove to the world that a young black boy from Louisville could become the most recognized athlete on earth. He was hungry to show people that greatness is not inherited. It is built. Brick by brick, punch by punch, sacrifice by sacrifice. This fire made him extraordinary. When pain becomes a teacher, most people fear pain. Most people avoid discomfort. Most people run from the very things that shape them into who they need to become. But Ali didn't run from pain. Ali trained with pain. Ali invited pain. Ali respected pain. Because pain was not his enemy. Pain was his instructor. He once said, "I don't count my sit-ups. I only start counting when it starts hurting." This is the essence of willpower. Skill makes you good in the first 10 rounds. Will makes you a champion in the last 2. Pain is the moment when skill ends and will begins. Ali pushed through exhaustion because he understood that every moment of pain was a moment of transformation. His lungs burned, his legs ached, his shoulders felt like they were tearing apart. But he kept going. Why? Because pain reveals truth. Pain shows you what you are made of. Pain exposes the limits of your skill. Pain exposes the strength of your will. When your body says, stop, when your mind says, quit, when your excuses become louder than your dreams, that is the moment you meet your real self. You cannot know how strong your will is until everything inside you begs you to stop. And Ali's answer to pain was always the same. Not yet. Not today. I'm not done. Pain is temporary, but identity is permanent. Every time Ali broke through a barrier, He became a different person, more disciplined, more resilient, more unbreakable. This is why he became great. He used pain as a tool. He used struggle as fuel. He used every hardship as a stepping stone to greatness. When the world doubts you, every champion faces doubt, but Ali faced more doubt than most. Journalists doubted him. Experts mocked him. Opponents underestimated him. Critics dismissed him as loud, arrogant, flashy, and overhyped. They believed skill mattered more than identity. They believed technique mattered more than belief. They believed talent mattered more than will. But Ali knew something they didn't. If my will is stronger than yours, your skill will not save you. This wasn't arrogance, it was truth. It was the quiet confidence of a man who understood the psychology of victory. When the world doubted him, Ali didn't shrink. He expanded. He grew louder. He grew stronger. He grew bolder. Because doubt is not a threat to the strong. Doubt is a weapon for those who understand how to use it. Every insult became energy. Every prediction became fuel. Every critic became a stepping stone. When the world doubted Ali, Ali doubled down. He believed in himself so deeply, so powerfully, that the world had no choice but to believe eventually. The mind of a champion. Identity before skill. People often misunderstand the order of greatness. They think greatness begins with talent. They think greatness begins with skill. They think greatness begins with opportunity. But Muhammad Ali revealed the real sequence. Identity, will, discipline, skill, results. Most people reverse this. Most people wait for results before forming identity. They wait for success before deciding they are capable. They wait for applause before believing they matter. They wait for victories before calling themselves champions. Ali was different. He chose his identity before he earned the evidence. He declared his greatness before he developed the skill. He spoke like a champion long before he fought like one. This wasn't arrogance. It was psychological programming. It was self-engineering on the highest level. When he said, "I am the greatest," he wasn't describing himself. He was building himself. Words became bricks. Belief became foundation. Identity became architecture. Ali understood that the mind is the first battlefield. If you lose the internal fight, you will lose the external one. You must become the person mentally long before you become them physically. This is why Ali trained with purpose. This is why he practiced with fire. This is why he pushed his limits. Because he wasn't training to prove he was great. He was training to live up to the identity he already accepted. Identity creates pressure. Pressure creates discipline. Discipline creates mastery. This is the secret most people never learn. Not because it's hard to understand, but because it demands courage. You must declare who you want to be before the world agrees. Champions decide first. Losers wait for permission. The moment skill fails and will takes over, every fighter eventually meets the same moment. A moment when skill collapses, a moment when technique stops working, a moment when the body refuses to continue. For Ali, those moments happened many times, in the ring, in training, in life. And every time the moment arrived, Ali reached for something deeper than strength. You can see it clearly in the Thrilla in Manila, one of the most brutal fights in boxing history. After round 10, round 11, round 12, both Ali and Joe Frazier were fighting on exhaustion, not technique. Their bodies were failing, their nerves were burning, their vision was blurred, their muscles were shutting down. Skill had left the ring. Only will remained. Ali later said, "It was the closest thing to death I've ever felt." At that moment, skill meant nothing, experience meant nothing, talent meant nothing. There was only one question: who wants it more? Will breaks pain. Will defeats doubt. Will resurrects you when your body collapses. And in that moment, Ali's will shined brighter than his skill ever could. This is why the quote is so powerful. The will must be stronger than the skill, because skill is what gets you into the fight, but will is what gets you out of it. Discipline. Where will becomes action. Will is the inner fire, but without discipline, it burns out quickly. Ali didn't just have will. He turned his will into a lifestyle. He woke up early. He trained until his body screamed. He ran in the cold. He boxed until his arms went numb. He pushed his limits until he discovered new ones. Discipline is not about feeling good. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done, even when every part of you wants to stop. Ali trained harder than anyone because he understood a truth that most people ignore. Your body won't respect you until your mind commands it. Discipline is the bridge between desire and greatness. Without it, will is just energy. With it will becomes transformation. Ali's discipline was merciless. He would not allow himself to relax when he was supposed to work. He would not allow himself to complain when he was supposed to grow. He would not allow himself to doubt when he was supposed to believe. This didn't happen naturally. It happened because he decided to live like a champion before the world crowned him. 1. Discipline is not about punishment. It's about alignment. When your actions align with your identity, you become unstoppable.